And the lady was very helpful. She's like, oh my God, this is, I'm going to get right on this. I'll escalate this, blah, blah, blah. I'll let you know when I have an answer, like when we find your bag. Because at that point, the flight was like in the air. So like there's no way for them to check at Burbank and there's no way for them to check at Washington. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, just give me a call.
They send another plane up to meet your plane.
Do the transfer, some Mission Impossible style shit. Tom Cruise is on the underside of the plane.
They just like open the door and throw the bag out.
Catch, thank you.
Dude opens the cockpit, grabs it, waves to the pilot, flies off.
Oh, that would be so tight. Covert ops just to get my keyboard back. Hey everyone, welcome to the Lunchtime Serenade Podcast, episode number 74. We're back eating some Thai food. I've never had this place before. This is from...
The place, the name of the place was so dope that I was like, all right.
Yeah, that's what caught my eye too. It's called... Today's food is from Crispy Pork Gang, Oyster Bar, and Crawfish Thai Restaurant.
Pork Gang.
Yeah, Crispy Pork Gang.
Dude, what an interesting combo. They're like, here's Thai food, but then also here's some crawfish.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much crawfish are used in Thai food, if at all.
I mean, it seems like they would.
Somebody correct me in the comments below if they do use it in Thai cooking. But
maybe like more traditional Thai cooking, but not like the Americanized shit, you know? Ooh. The Thai tea is good too. Like perfect balance, like not too sweet. Yeah. I didn't get any pork. No pork from the Crispy Pork restaurant. Is there pork in your thing?
No, I got chicken. Well, me too. Dude, here's why. Here's my thing. As I really loudly rip open this plastic. The pork to me is always... It's going down there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Pork to me is always dried out. Like it's never like enough.
Yeah.
But also the other thing is I like pigs way more than I like chickens.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to weigh my moral compass of like, is this animal all right to eat?
I've heard a lot of like scary things about how pork is like way far less regulated too, as far as like the production of it and how it's processed and how it's handled. So
especially when you like read something like The fucking Jungle.
Yeah.
Or it's a jungle, right? Meatpacking industry.
Yeah.
Is it called The Jungle?
I think so. I knew what you were talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll take that. Fuck. That's gonna bug me. I'll look it up later.
This is good. It's classic Thai food. Ooh. Can't go wrong.
Ooh.
I got pad see ew with chicken.
Hell yeah. So when I first put together my order, I put it in and then I went to the cart and we ordered the exact same fucking thing. And I was just like, no. I was like, I gotta change it up. I was like, we're too much like the same person.
It happens like more often than not. He'll be like, fuck, I was gonna get that. And I was like, oh shit, sorry.
We gotta have some variety.
Gotta have a little bit of variety.
We're not mukbanging this shit, so we gotta figure it out.
True. Exactly. Ooh.
Look at this.
Why is it rolled up like that?
Look at this tiny pillow of rice. Look at it.
Why did they do that?
Wow, that's still very warm. It's sticky rice.
Oh.
So sticky rice, you like cook it in like coconut milk and other stuff. At least the way I cook it. This could be a different recipe. I don't know, but normally you do it like that. Kind of like solidifies, kind of keeps itself together.
Wrap it up.
And then you wrap it up so that it stays together,
sticky and stuck together.
Right. So like it doesn't lose that like consistency and the moisture. It's really dope. I love that this is straight up just like a plastic bag.
It's just like a baggie of rice. That's really funny.
Funny, dude.
Yeah, it's so good.
I love sticky rice. It just tastes a little better, but I always just end up
a little sweet, yeah.
Yeah, I always just dropping it in like brick by brick into my curry.
Yeah.
Which like might be sacrilege to some people, but hey man, it's all gonna go to the same place. So if the texture is more or less the same.
Facts.
And tastes good. Who the fuck cares?
That's a fact. Yeah, I don't know what the proper way to eat
if somebody like came to me and was like, hey man, this is how you eat it, I'd be like, dope, I'll do that. But until somebody corrects me, I'm gonna eat it my way.
Doing it the way that I like to do it. Yeah. Exactly. Damn, this is, Oh,
I didn't even
It's not bad.
I didn't try the broth yet.
Try the broth. I'm gonna give this I'll give it like a 7. Like it's good Thai food. I think I need to just be a little more adventurous. I got spicy. I checked the spicy level, but they did not give me any spice. So
like max spice, you picked.
I picked the one right below max spice, but that's definitely not it.
But it's definitely not spicy at all. All right, so I got some chicken. Got a little bit of potato. I got yellow curry. I probably should have led with that.
Okay.
Yellow curry is my favorite curry.
I love yellow curry.
And it's potatoes, carrots, a little bit of chopped onions and chopped carrot. Dude, it is so hot outside.
It's fucking hot.
I'm so sweaty.
I know. I took a walk this morning and I was like, ugh, couldn't do it.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna turn that. Let's something in here.
I'm still just acclimating. Yeah, we're getting there. Don't worry about it.
Okay. He'll get there. And then you're eating hot soup, so that's not...
right. So it's just like adding to
glistening
it.
Right now.
God, I'm so excited for this. All right, so got a little bit of rice, chicken, potato, a little bit of onion. I'll probably try to like throw a piece of carrot in there real quick. This is a big bite, but I got a big mouth, baby.
Do it. Ooh. How is it?
There's still some space. I gotta get a carrot.
They get a carrot. Really just take it all in.
Overall, the broth is really good.
Really?
Like the actual curry itself, really good.
Okay.
Very, very impressed with that. I got medium spice because I just can't fucking do it anymore.
Yeah, I can't either, man. My stomach is not what it used to be.
It's so sad.
It really is.
Like, do you get like shit on when you go to like a Mexican restaurant with your last name being Ortega and you order like mild spicy?
I don't do it at Mexican restaurants. I'm too afraid. I get full spice at Mexican restaurants.
You're like, I don't want them to drag my ass.
Yeah, I'll do at any other place where they're not like where it's not my culture. I'll get like less spice, but at Mexican restaurants, I'm just like, fuck, I have to do this
For the culture,
for the race, for the people.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah,
man. Overall, I'm gonna give this like an 8.75.
Oh really?
This is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed with it. I think like the rice, like the fact that it all stayed super warm is very impressive to me. The packaging itself, like just kind of like it came together and like nothing spilled, nothing was weird, everything's there.
It traveled well, and it wasn't like super expensive as far as other Thai food goes.
Absolutely,
pretty middle of the road.
Yeah, there's a lot of chicken in here, so that's kind of dope.
Nice.
Yeah, man, it just tastes good. Like I think I probably actually could have gone a little spicier.
Really?
Like I think I could have done it.
I think that places that cater more towards like non-Thai people really dumb down the spice level. Mm-hmm. Like unless you're literally in the restaurant, and you're like, please make this really spicy. They're not gonna do it because they know it's too spicy.
There's a Thai restaurant that shows up on like the Food Network all the time here. Mm-hmm. I think it's actually like in the valley somewhere too. But the chef of that restaurant is like shows up on the Food Network all the time. Her name is Jazz something. Don't know her last name. But her shit is like so spicy, where she's like, "Nah, I'm making it like this is how we made it like back in the day."
Wow.
And it's just like every time people go on, they're like, "That's incredible," and they're like crying and shit.
Like, this is so good.
And I'm just like, man, I want to go there so bad, but I'll die. Mm-hmm. I will probably die.
Yeah, I just like, I don't know. I think it was like probably 3-4 years ago when I noticed the shift in my lactose intolerance too.
Yeah.
Is when I started getting like, because I still love the taste and the feeling of spicy food. Mm-hmm. That's not the issue. I can handle the heat in my mouth, but it's when it goes through my digestive system is what fucks me up.
Yep, same.
Yeah.
I realize that's just like, you hit close to 30 and your stomach just don't work the same.
Your stomach don't work no more.
It just doesn't do the same thing, man.
Your stomach doesn't stum like it used to.
It does its best.
Yeah.
But
I remember going to fucking Thai restaurants with my college roommates and just like it was a competition to see who could order the spiciest shit and finish it. And I was fucking fine. No, not anymore.
Yeah, dude, we would do that all the time. One of my roommates was like very much into spice. Mm-hmm. So he would always get like the hottest hot sauces at like a burrito place on campus. He would always get like really spicy pho at like a Vietnamese place that we had on campus. It was wild, dude. And I was like, yeah, man, let's do that. Let's do it. Let's chug this hot shit.
Yeah.
And now I want to die like 5 minutes after I eat hot things.
Yeah. It goes right away too. Like I notice immediately. I'm like, ooh, I start getting the.
Yep. That's like that is the perfect sound. Like you crushed that.
Thank you. I felt pretty good about that sound.
You've been working on that one.
I've been working on it. I hear it all the time from my stomach. So.
So we've been away for a little bit. Well, I know you got up to some stuff.
I got up to some stuff.
Like last weekend. What's the story with that?
So, all right. This is yet another segment of Nick's woes because they just never end.
Dude,
They never fucking end.
It's like so funny to me because like I feel so bad every time, but I'm also like, damn, like he's just got so many good fucking stories of just like the world giving you just so many inconveniences.
The world just gives me their giant middle finger as often as it can. So last weekend, we had a show, 2 shows, one in San Francisco, one in Santa Rosa.
What a wonderful area.
Yeah, it really is. Love the Bay Area. So I fly from Burbank, right? Which is like a small-ish airport, if you guys don't know. Nice and convenient. And I have a case with all my music shit in it, and it's like the shape of a smaller keyboard. Probably.
It's like what, 5 feet long?
No, not that big.
Oh, okay.
So it's probably like, yeah, not even quite the length of this table. Like maybe like this.
Okay.
This, and like it's like a little rectangle, hard shell plastic case, so like it protects everything inside. It's got my keyboard and like in-ear monitors and like audio interfaces. It got like basically all my music shit except for my laptop when I travel, right? And there's always like some sort of issue with it when I travel. Like it's always searched by TSA, first of all. Anytime I open it up, all the shit is like horribly not put back in the same place, and there's like a notice right there. TSA inspected your bag, like whatever. I'm like, fucking.
Hey man, there's too many cables in this thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I have keyboard written all on the outside. Keyboard, like fragile, whatever. And every time I have to specify to the gate agent, this is a keyboard, this is whatever, because they think it's a gun. Like straight up, they think it's a gun.
Yeah.
Which, like, understandable, but, like, TSA, instead of just opening it and being like, oh, that's not a gun, closing it back up, they open it. They're like, is there a gun under this keyboard?
Where's the
and they
gun?
fucking take shit out. Yeah, so there's always an issue. And then, like, when it comes out of the baggage claim, it's, like, slightly oversized, so it either sometimes it comes out of oversized, sometimes the claim is big enough that it comes down to actual things, sometimes it just goes straight to the TSA office and I have to go and, like, it's always a hassle, right?
Damn, dude.
So, this past weekend, I go to the gate at Burbank, put it on the scale. Like I've done this a million times. It always weighs 40 pounds. It's like perfect size, whatever. I'm like good to go. So I'm kind of just like, mentally just going through the steps, not really paying attention. I hand the lady my ID. She's very clearly like in training. Like she was asking for help from the other guy. Like he was kind of clicking things for her. Like she was like one of her first days by herself is what I could tell. So whatever, she gives me that little like paper slip that folds over onto the bag. She puts on the conveyor belt. She gives me a paper ticket with a claim tag, right? But I have my ticket on my phone, so I don't even bother to look. I just fold it up, put it right in my pocket. All's good. Go to the gate. Take my flight. Land. Easy peasy, right? Pretty standard sequence of events.
Traveling.
Yeah, I traveled. I land at the airport. I land in the Santa Rosa airport, so another small airport. The flight was not full. Maybe like, and not even close to full. There was maybe 20, 22 people on the flight.
Damn,
like,
all right.
It was really, really...
How much bigger or smaller is the Santa Rosa airport compared to like the Burbank airport?
It's, I'd say it's probably half the size.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
so like
small.
teeny tiny.
Like teensy, yeah.
Okay.
Like absolutely weensy. So I get there.
Teeny tiny.
Go for the baggage claim. I wait. Everyone else's bags come out. My bag doesn't. I'm like, okay, it's probably just in the fucking oversized. I go inside. I'm like, hey, do you guys have oversized baggage? They're like, yeah. They take me to it. I'm like, it's not there. I was like, okay, did you guys see like a black keyboard case? And they're like, no. And I was like, okay, can I show you my claim tag? And they're like, nah. And I was like,
what do you mean nah?
What do you mean nah? I was like, they're like, it's not here. And I'm like, well, isn't that what you can tell though by definitively, like by looking at this claim tag? And they're like, it's not going to do you any good. You're going to have to call the airport that you came from. I'm like, what is the point of this then?
Yeah, that's
like,
weird.
Yeah.
That's like the whole point of the tag.
Right. I'm like, isn't it all in the same system? Can't you tell where it is from I'm like, whatever, fine. Call the Burbank airport. Explain the situation. Don't know where my bag is. It didn't land here, apparently. And they're like, oh, you know what? You're going to have to call the airline for that. And I'm like,
just nobody has an answer.
I'm like,
that's funny.
Just like, tell me what the fuck to do. So I call the airline. It's a Velo, so it's like a newish airline.
Never heard of it before in my life.
Yeah, Burbank is their hub. It's great because they fly into like tinier airports straight from Burbank, which is really, really nice and it's really convenient. And they're like $60 one way.
Wow.
Tickets.
Holy shit.
You can go to Santa Rosa. You can go to Vegas, Denver, Redding. You can go to Boise, Idaho. Like you can go to like a bunch of smaller airports for really cheap. It's great.
Okay, dope.
Really great.
That's good to know. Well, I guess We'll find out if it's good to know or
yeah.
not.
I've been flying it it's been around for about a year, maybe a little
okay.
more. I've been flying it since. It's great, always, usually. So whatever, I'm on hold for like 20 minutes. It takes like 20 minutes to connect to someone every time because it's like a small airport. I mean, they're a small airline and they're, I guess,
Like not super.
any amount of calls will kind of overwhelm them.
Right.
So I'm waiting on hold and I'm like looking at this claim tag and I'm like trying to see if there's any other information that I could, get from it to tell the people on the phone to expedite this process. And so then I flip it over and it's the paper ticket that they hand you. And I'm like looking at it just kind of absentmindedly. And then I'm like, wait a sec, this has a different departure time on it.
No. Oh, okay. Well, that actually happens more often than you'd think.
Right.
They like load your stuff onto another plane that's going to come in around the same time.
So I'm like, this has a different departure time and arrival time on it. And I'm like, but it's like 3 hours from now. I'm like, that seems really weird. And then I'm looking at it a little more and I'm like, hold on. There's also a different name and a different destination city on here. The lady who was in training somehow managed to fumble so badly that she gave me someone else's ticket, right? And because I didn't look at the paper ticket and I had it on my phone, if I had used the paper ticket, I would have found this out right away. Could have gone back, been like, hey, there's a mix-up, switch that bag out.
Oh my God, bro.
Because I didn't look at it and I just used my phone, I did not realize it. So this lady's name was like Estela or something like that. And she was going to someplace in Washington. And I'm like, holy shit. So I get on the phone with the airline. I explain it. I'm like, hey, I think my bag is here. I think it got switched, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the lady was very helpful. She's like, oh my God, this is, let me get right on this. I'll escalate this, blah, blah, blah. I'll let you know when I have an answer, like when we find your bag. Because at that point, the flight was like in the air. So like there's no way for them to check at Burbank and there's no way for them to check at Washington. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, just give me a call.
They send another plane up to meet your plane.
Do the transfer, some Mission Impossible style shit. Tom Cruise is on the underside of the plane.
They just like open the door and throw the bag out.
Thank you.
Dude opens the cockpit, grabs it, waves to the pilot, flies off.
Oh, that would be so tight. Covert ops just to get my keyboard back.
Logistics, that's Amazon's future.
Exactly, truly.
It's just taking over flights.
Except with drones. With like drones that look like humans. Like the iRobot fucking things. Just...
And then they fly into the engines and blow the plane up.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of explained the gravity of the situation to her. She's like very understanding, which is great. And she was like, thank you for not yelling at me. I'm like, it's not your fault.
I
felt so bad.
The fact that was like the first reaction she had, that's sad, dude.
I know.
How much shit does she put up with?
Oh, so much. She's working in customer service at an airline. No one calls customer service at an airline unless there's a big problem.
Yeah, no one calls customer service at an airline in a good mood.
Ever.
So that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she just deals with a bunch of shit. So she's like, thanks for not yelling. I'm like, I mean, it's not your fault. I just really want to get this fixed. And she's like, I get it. Let me take care of this. So then I'm like, I need this like within 24 hours. Like truly, like I need this tomorrow because I flew in a day early. But I was like, I need this by 24 hours from right now. She's like, okay, like let me see what I can do. I'll give you a call back. I was like, okay. So I get a call back from her a little later. She's like, we still haven't found your bag, but the minute we do, I'm going to give you a call and then we can go from there. I was like, cool. So I'm assuming you can just like put it on the
another
plane,
flight coming in,
and I can just pick it up at the airport or something like that. Like truly, like whatever. Like I'm close to the airport. Like just that's probably the best, easiest thing to do. She's like, yeah, I'll touch base with you when we find it. Didn't touch base with me the rest of that night. I'm like, whatever. I understand. Damn. It's like the end of the day. It was like 6 already when I landed, so I was like, okay, whatever. So the next day, first thing in the morning, I call and I'm like, hey, here's my name, here's my reference number. There's probably some info that you can look up. And they're like, I don't see anything here. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. So I re-explained this entire situation. Right?
Oh my God.
I go through the motions. I was like, okay. I was like, can I just be transferred to like the last person I was speaking to? Her name was Kathy. And he's like, I don't know someone named Kathy. I'm like, can you like check the call logs and transfer? He's like, no, I don't know anyone by that name. I can't do that. And I was like, I was like, okay, well, did they find my case? And he's like, after explaining this to him, it took like another 20, 30 minutes to explain this to him. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna put you on hold, whatever. He gets back. Okay, they found your case. I was like, okay, great.
Oh, dope.
I was like, was it in Washington? He was like, yeah, I was in Washington. They're sending it back to you right now. I was like, oh, perfect. Well, I have it today. And he's like, let me check the tracking. It's the FedEx tracking. I was like, FedEx tracking? Hold on. FedEx? I was like, I thought you guys were just gonna put it back on the flight. He's like, well, I was like, no, it's on FedEx. And I was like, okay. He's like, all right, here's a tracking number. Reads it back to me. And I was like, what's the ETA? He's like, Monday afternoon. At this point, it's Friday, right?
They're literally shipping it to you.
They're shipping it to me instead of putting it on the flight that goes to the airport every day. So I'm like, okay, that's an issue because I need it today. I tried to explain this yesterday, and I thought Kathy and I had an understanding. I'd really like to talk to her. He just wasn't putting me through. So I'm like, well, what can I do?
Kathy hasn't worked here in 30 years.
Yeah, it's like
she's the ghost in their phone system.
Yeah, exactly.
She died at that customer service table.
Actually, speak to anyone.
Yeah,
oh
she
my
gets
God.
sucked into the phone like Ghostbusters style.
Yeah,
she haunts the entire customer service section of the Avelo Airlines office.
Just no one knows who the fuck she is. So I'm like, all right. Also, if it's gonna be here on Monday, I'm leaving before that, so I need to change the destination of where this is coming, right? While I figure out what to do in the meantime.
Right.
And he's like, okay, let me see what I can do. And then he's like, puts me on a hold, comes back. You're gonna have to call FedEx for that. I'm like, you're shitting me. So I'm like, can I have a direct line to get back in touch with someone here? And he's like, unfortunately, you're just gonna have to call the main line again. And I'm like, I have to wait on hold for 20 minutes every time. And he's like, you can request a call back. I'm like, I still have to wait 20 minutes though. Right. Like I don't care that sure, I can hang up the phone and do shit for 20 minutes, but it's the fact that I have to wait to talk to someone when this is a very pressing issue. That's it's stressing me out. And he's like, unfortunately, you're just gonna have to call. I'm like, fucking whatever.
That dude is a master at de-escalation. Yes. He just he's just checked out the entire conversation.
Sorry, no budging, no compromise.
Yeah. It's like, man, this is what you got to do. He's like looking at their 10-step plan. It's printed out and laminated on his cubicle.
If someone starts to yell, go to phase 2.
to phase 2.
So
he pulls out a scream voice modulator and threatens you.
I'd like to play a game. I'd like to play a game. What's your favorite scary movie? So what's your favorite airline? Do you prefer middle or aisle? So I call FedEx and I'm like, hey, here's a tracking number. Here's a situation. I would like to change the destination where this is going. And he's like, only the person who sent it can do that. And I'm like, you have to be absolutely joking me right now.
You're the one that sent it.
Yeah. So I call. He's like, I was like, so the airline has to send it back or change that. And they're like, yes, he has to put that. They have to put that transfer through. So I'm like, okay. So I call the airline again. Mind you, this is all. It's 9 a.m. I'm truly scrambling because we have a show that night and a show the next night.
Right. So what time is the show on this night?
Sound check is at 5. So I have 7 hours to figure this shit out.
Oh my God, dude.
So luckily this one was in town. This one was in Santa Rosa. Because if it was otherwise, I would have had to add an hour and a half to that because of driving to get to San Francisco. So luckily this was a little bit lower stakes. It was also an acoustic show, so I didn't need my whole setup for it. But the next night I would. So I'm really trying to get the ball rolling. Call Avelo again. Get a different person on the line.
Tight.
I'm like, okay, here's my reference number. I was like, please let there be something there. She's like, okay, yeah, I can see it. Let me just a sec. Let me read it. So she reads over everything, and she's like, what can I do for you? And I'm like, I need you guys to change the track, change the destination. And she's like, I don't know if I can do that, whatever. She's like, I'm gonna need approval. I'm like, fucking whatever. So then I just figure, you know what? Let it get sent to Emma because then she can have she can have it there, and then I'm just gonna have to buy new shit. Right. I figure at this point I'm gonna have to go to the music store and buy everything again. So I figure she can have a case and I can have a set, and we can avoid this in the future. So
you have go bags of musical equipment. Dude, that's so funny. You're gonna start burying them in the desert with a skull marking its location.
Style, yeah. Bunkers, but
we don't need food and water. I just need a keyboard.
Instead of cans of beans and canned vegetables, it's literally just MIDI keyboard. Audio interface, extra microphone,
shit ton of XLRs.
Yeah, exactly. You can use it to wrangle the zombies.
You're the fucking dude in Mad Max that's playing the guitar. Yeah. That's you, but you're just hitting a keyboard. Dude, that's funny.
So at that point, I'm like, whatever. Don't worry about changing the address, but I have to go buy all this new stuff. I need to be sure I'm going to be reimbursed. It says in your baggage policy, if there's a loss on your behalf, that I will be reimbursed. And I'm like, but I just need to, I was like, can I speak to someone in reimbursements? Because this isn't 5 t-shirts that I lost. I'm like, this is music equipment, it's going to be a very expensive reimbursement.
It's literally a business expense. Like it's stuff that you use to make money.
So I'm like, I need to speak to someone in reimbursements because I just want verbal confirmation that this is going to be reimbursed, right? And she's like, I can't transfer you there. I was like, why not? She's like, she's like, it's our fault. Like, we will reimburse you. I'm like, I was like, I need to be absolutely sure. Because,
can you send me an email?
Yeah, I was like, can I get this in writing somehow? She's just like, no, I promise. I was like, but that promise doesn't really mean anything because I've spoken to a different person every time who doesn't seem to know who I spoke to last. So I'm like, she's like, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, that's really all I can hope for right now. So I'm like, fuck it. Hang up the phone, wrangle the troops. We go to the nearest music store, drop $5,000.
Oh my God,
$5,000 on new equipment, right?
Holy shit.
First of all, there aren't exact replacements for everything we need. Everything we had is like 4 or 5 years old at this point. So everything else is, everything that is this equivalent is now like the Mark IV version of it or whatever.
So you've got to Google real quick to make sure that shit's like adaptable and whatnot. Yeah.
Right. So we get everything we need plus some like extra stuff that like we need to interface the new stuff. Whatever, $5,000, right? Fucking just out of pocket.
Jesus, dude.
Go back. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on the actual set tomorrow. Like, I'm not even going to, I don't even need my computer for tonight's set because it's acoustic. So I'm just not even going to fucking worry about it. We have the shit. It's fine. Not going to call Avila for the rest of the day. So whatever, we do the acoustic show. Acoustic show was great, a lot of fun. First time we'd ever done something like that, like really full-fledged. That wasn't a so far. It was like our show. Like come to see us play like an hour-long acoustic strip back set. It was very cool.
How'd the crowd like it? How'd they interact?
They interacted they were very responsive, very like, you know, it's such an interesting shift in dynamic because normally everyone's standing, everyone's crowded together, and like, you know, it's dancing.
You've got like lights and shit.
Yeah,
people
everyone's
are
sitting
like,
in seats. And they're like, you know, like attentive. It was like crazy.
Like they're watching you be musicians. They're not at a party. That's kind of dope though.
It was cool. I felt like it was a lot for me to like kind of get over that at first because I'm like, fuck, normally I can like kind of hide behind the computer and the electronics as far as like, if I fuck up, like, oh, I just turn this knob and it'll, you know, not like fix my mistake, but it's easier to mask your mistakes when there's a lot of shit going on, right? For sure. When I'm just playing the piano and Emma's singing, it's like just us. So I was like, fuck, I really need to be a musician right now.
Yeah, dude.
Because I kind of, you know, I don't phone it in, but it's easier for me to rely more on the electronics than my music.
Yeah. Well, and plus too, like at least from the outside looking in, like when you guys are performing like on a stage in like an actual, like, I don't want to say like an actual venue, but like a club-y type venue, you know, like the people are there for a party. So they're not like, they are listening, but they're not like fully paying attention, 100%. You know? So like in this setting, like their attention is on you.
They're like staring at me.
They're like, you guys are performing. We are witnessing your performance. Like that's what it is. So like,
it was really cool though. All in all, like, I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, that's a super cool departure from what like both of you are more or less used to. Like you kind of get to branch out in that aspect. Like,
I really liked it.
Yeah, and you get to like try a couple of things a little differently. You know, so that's gotta be cool, man.
Exactly. So it was fun. I really enjoyed it. Fast forward to the next day, Saturday morning, right? I'm like, all right.
So wait, so the show the night before, the acoustic show, that ended when?
That ended at like probably 11 p.m. and then we like went out for a little bit afterwards.
Cool.
And then,
so you got home at 2 a.m.
Yeah, 2 a.m.
Like that.
2 a.m.
So you sleep. You wake up at like what time?
Woke up at like 9:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
A reasonable amount of time. I like that.
Right. Because we had like shit to do, and I'm like, I like couldn't sleep because I'm like, I need to build this. I need to make sure everything works.
You're laying in bed at night, just like thinking about how to fucking hook up all this shit.
Yes.
You're like, is the software gonna like match the things?
Right. So I'm like, fuck, whatever. At 9:30, I'm like, I can't do that. I gotta get up and start trying to plug shit in. So I plug everything in, open up Ableton. I'm like I open our live set project, and I'm like pressing buttons. Fuck.
So nothing is mapped at this point.
Nothing is. Well, I hope because I have the replacements, like the newer replacements. So I have like the keyboard, which is just the Mark IV, and I have the launch pad, which is like the Mark III of what we normally use because it's the same brand, same whatever. I'm assuming all the mappings are just going to transfer. That's my thought.
Okay. So you still have the maps. You just need to.
I just need to plug it in and make sure it's compatible. Right.
I see.
Because we're using also like an older version of Ableton. It detects everything, right? It looks fine. There's like a couple of files missing, but that's like easy enough to fix, right? That's like a super easy thing. I try to press shit on the MIDI controllers. Nothing's happening. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It's seeing the input. It's just not going to the right place. I'm like, why is this happening? Turns out I like do a bunch of Googling. I do a bunch of whatever. I'm like trying to get in touch with people who know how to use Ableton. Turns out that the version of Ableton that we had is too old to interface with anything above like the Mark II. So then we had to buy the upgraded version of Ableton, which is like $700.
I was gonna say, was there like a trial you could have just used?
There's no trial for Ableton that is full-fledged enough. There's a trial for so there's 3 versions of Ableton. There's like the intro, the whatever, and then like the suite. And in order to have all the shit that we have in our project, we need the suite.
That sucks.
So we needed to upgrade. And of course, it's cheaper to upgrade if like you already own Ableton. So, right. But it only knocks off like $200. So I think we paid $600 instead of $800.
That's kind of how Final Draft is.
Yeah.
Every time they put out a new one, like you can upgrade to it for like $150, but just like buying a whole new license is like $250.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. But so anyways, I'm like, fuck. So I re-download Ableton, rebuild the entire set. I'm in front of this computer for like 5 hours. I'm like fucking stressing. I'm like clicking. Emma's doing the Sunday crossword. She's like sitting with our guitar player, just doing the Sunday crossword.
That's like the whole thing where they're like, you're cutting back and forth between like a car chase and like a person like crossing the street.
Yeah.
So like you're cutting back to someone like just like really stressed, like, you know, we're zooming in and like crash cutting to a whole bunch of other stuff, and then like just for some reason I envisioned Emma like sitting there with like her legs crossed, like a cup of coffee and like the newspaper. Like the thing where it's like perfectly folded over, and she's like looking with like her bifocals. I don't know why I'm envisioning her as like an old woman.
100% I could see that. And I'm just like fucking sitting there like sweating my ass off like
just like in the other room.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Dude, I was fucking stressed to the max. So and then like all the shit is so like they've made so many advancements with this MIDI technology that like it does way more than I need it to, and it's so convoluted. So that's when we posted on our story like, hey, does anyone know how to use this specific MIDI device and Ableton? Because like I fucking don't know what to do because there's so many options, and I don't use Ableton like as a production software, so I really was kind of lost. So finally someone like walks us through it. It wasn't like the info that I needed, but I think just talking it out with someone who knew Ableton really helped me be like, I need to do this.
Did they like chat you or something like that? Because I saw you guys like posted about it on like Instagram.
Yeah, we posted about it on Instagram, and then one of our friends responded to the story, and so we FaceTimed him, and he like kind of. We just talked it out, and like I said, I like came to the conclusion of what I needed, but I think it was because it was just helpful to talk about it. So anyways, I was like, okay, figure it out. In order to do this thing, it takes me an extra hour of like remapping. I literally have to remap everything, right? So whatever, I finally do it. It's finally working. I'm like, okay, good, let's fucking do this.
And is it like close enough to the original way that you had it set up that you're like confident you can actually hit things?
Yeah, it's close enough. It's like pretty much exactly the same. It's just like this pad is like 10 times more sensitive. So like when I'm like hitting the pads on stage, I'm like kind of going hard, right?
You always look like you look so like bouncy and light, but then like your hands
Dude,
look like
I know.
You look like you're trying to like strangle somebody to death. Like the way that you hit stuff is just so funny to me.
I'm like, it's nuts. But this pad is like 20 times more sensitive. So like I can't like this happens so often during the live set. I'd be like slamming like the button that I need to press. 5 pads around it would go off. I'm like, fuck. So I really had to dial it back. So I'm like trying to bounce and like make my fingers do like the most ginger little like boop, 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 boop type shit.
So now whenever you see DJs like on like big sets and stages and stuff like that, and they're doing like this, it's actually true.
Yeah,
it might actually be they are actually doing something.
They're actually, you never know. So whatever, the show was great. It was a lot of fun. Great crowd, great venue. That was great.
After all of that hassle and stress and money, did that show like hit different for you?
No, I was so stressed.
You were like stressed. I was still stressed.
I was because I had like from the time that I finished mapping everything, to like the time that I had to like, I was like, okay, I just need to run through this whole set basically and make sure like, you know, so I needed like 45 minutes to do that, to like run through the show.
For sure.
And then we had to pack up the car 10 minutes after that. So I'm like, fuck, I really like didn't have time to like work out any kinks. So that whole show, I'm like on edge. I'm like, okay, if something goes wrong, I have to do this. If this goes wrong, I have to do, like, I was really like, I was not confident about it, but it was great.
You've got your airport service customer service checklist laminated on your your trackpad.
Exactly. Phase 2 if this happens. So
yeah, burn it down.
So like it's so funny because all the pictures from the show, Emma and Taylor's our guitar player who comes and plays sometimes for us, and he plays on some of our tracks. They're like having a good time, like looking at each other, or whatever, and I'm in the corner like I'm deadpan in these photos. I'm like,
you're just like lasered in. You're like nothing else is happening.
I was like, and the monitor mix on stage was horrible, so I couldn't hear. And I'm like, so that was like even more stressful. I'm like, oh
so you guys didn't buy another set of in-ears?
We did buy another set of in-ears, but it's for Emma. So like she has has her receiver, but the transmitter is in my case.
Oh, I see.
So
okay.
I use a stage monitor.
Got it.
And she uses her in-ears. But
is there a reason that you do it that way? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. I would like to get in-ears, but it's like an in-ear thing, it's like $1,000.
Whoa, fuck!
Yeah,
what?
It's $1,000. It's so expensive.
Shit, dude.
So like, eventually I'd like to, but like for now, whatever. I'll just take a stage monitor.
Yeah, all right.
Free,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, whatever. The show was great. Bottom line. So then we get back the next day. It's the weekend, so whatever. I like try to enjoy it. We had a good time.
Hell yeah.
Monday rolls around, and I call Avelo. Oh. The case that we had to buy to put everything in is 3 times bigger than the other case, right?
So is there just a shit ton of empty space in it?
No, because now I bought that big keyboard there, which I needed for the acoustic show.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So I bought that keyboard and I bought the new MIDI keyboard.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's so colorful.
It's so colorful. Nice. Yeah, it's really nice. But that's what we use for the acoustic set. But that, I needed to transport everything back home, right? So I needed a full-size keyboard case, whereas before I only had a 49-key keyboard case. And that's an 88-key keyboard. So we bought an 88-key keyboard case, which the case itself weighs 30 pounds. Dude,
oh my
it's so heavy.
God.
That weighs 40 pounds.
No way.
Yes.
That
piano weighs 40 pounds.
Jesus Christ,
already, I'm at 70 pounds just with that.
That's crazy.
But luckily, like the other things that I have is MIDI equipment, and which is so light, right? There's no onboard shit. So like, all in all, so Monday rolls around. I'm like, I know this case is gonna be overweight. It's already oversized. Like I think you saw in my story. I posted a picture of me laying next to it. It's like basically the size of me. It's so.
It's
big.
like maybe 3 inches shorter than you.
Yeah, it's fucking massive. So I'm like, I already know it's going to be overweight, oversized. I need to call Avelo and tell them that I need to bring this on because their baggage policy says, I think this is pretty standard, but like 50 pounds is the max. If your bag is over 50 pounds, you have to pay.
Right.
But it can't be over 70 pounds. Otherwise, they won't let it fly.
Interesting. Okay.
It says like at their discretion, but whatever. Like 70 pounds is like the max. So I'm like, this is not only over 70 pounds, it is oversized. I'm not gonna pay for this. Like even if they say like, sure, you can bring it on, I'm not gonna pay their $100 for this.
They're gonna purposefully lose this box too, like just to fuck with you at this point.
I know. So I'm like, okay.
They're like, this guy's gonna give us shit. Like,
So I put everything in. 40 pounds keyboard, 30-pound case, all my MIDI equipment came out to 73 pounds.
Oh,
two pounds. Man. 2 pounds of. 70 pounds of a keyboard and a case, and then 2 pounds of everything else. Which there was a lot of other shit.
Did you just like shove it into your backpack?
No, I can't fit it because it's another keyboard. I fit that keyboard and that keyboard inside the case, and the in-ears and the launch pad and all that shit didn't fit in my bag, and the drum pad, all that extra stuff. So I call them and I'm like, hey, here's my reference number, whatever. I was like, can I just also, I want confirmation that this other bag is arriving today, right? And I was like,
because this is the Monday that they said it would be.
Yes,
there.
exactly. Okay. This is the Monday that it said it would
be.
And
you gave them the address of
Emma.
Okay, cool.
Emma's address.
Got it.
I was just like, I just want to make sure because also, like I can't deal with that on top of everything else. I just want to make sure she's getting it. So I'm like, here's the situation. The bag that I had to buy is too big for your baggage policy. Like, I just want to be sure. Like, I was like, I need to be able to take it on the plane, and I'm not gonna be charged for it. And the lady's like, unfortunately, we are gonna have to charge you. I'm like, no, you are not gonna charge me for this. I'm like, listen, I'm at my wit's end right now. Like, you can't. I was like, I had to buy this because you guys lost the original case. Can you see that? And she's like, yes, I can. I'm like, so it does. Why would I'm like, it doesn't make. I have no choice I have to take this home. I should not be charged for this. She's like, okay, let me see what I can do. Puts me on hold. She gets back. She's like,
this is your fault.
Yeah. She's like, okay, fine. You can take it on the plane. I'm like, and I won't be charged. And you won't be charged. I was like, okay, good. She's like, I'll send a note to the airline or to the airport. but you might have to have them call us. I'm like, is there a direct number they can call? They're like, no, they're going to have to call customer service. I'm like,
oh my
so
God, bro.
If it doesn't go through, they're going to have to wait on hold for 20 minutes. Whatever. It ended up going through. It was fine. I didn't have to worry about that.
Cool.
So
didn't get charged.
Didn't get charged.
Okay.
So before I went, on Sunday, actually, backpedal, I took pictures of all the receipts of everything. I itemized it all. I put descriptions of everything. I took a picture of the case and the contents before I flew, actually. So I attached that picture. I attached links to the shows, like ticket links. I'm like, here's my story. Here's all the things that I need. Like, here's proof. I'm not lying.
Right.
I had a show here. I had a show here. Like, I needed this by this date. I couldn't get it from you, so I had to buy it. Basically, like, long ass email, all the information, and probably more than they actually needed. But I was like, I need to make sure I get this money back.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
$5,000 out of my pocket is an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
So
just literally because they fucking put your bag on the wrong plane.
Yes.
Exactly.
Crazy. So whatever. I was like, okay, well, have you heard back from the refunds? And they're like, you're gonna have to email her. She doesn't have a direct phone line. I'm like, okay, well, I just need to make sure I'm gonna get this back, right? And I was like, can you have her reach out to me? And they're like, yeah, we can have her reach out to you. Whatever. Fly home. Everything's fine. The case proves to be a little bit of an issue when I land. There was like 2 people like unloading the case, and they're like, it won't fit through the thing. Is this anybody's? They like, does anyone have this case? I'm like, yeah, it's fucking mine. Like, I'll take it, whatever. What's in the case? I'm like, okay, just a keyboard, whatever. Get home. Haven't gotten a call back or an email from this lady. So Jesus. I'm like, I email her again. I'm like, hey, please let me know the next steps. If you need anything else from me, like, I'd love to get this refund processed as soon as possible. And to add insult to injury, when I landed, I got a text from FedEx. Your item is being shipped. They just sent it on Monday. Oh my God. It wasn't arriving on Monday. They sent it on Monday.
Oh my God.
Whatever. So the next day I get an email from this lady. Thank you for sending everything over. I will circle back with you. I'm like, okay, at least I know you received it, whatever. Next day, it's Wednesday at this point. Like,
circle back.
Yeah, circle back, touch base.
Some fucking corporate email shit.
So the next day, I get another email. Hey, can you fill out this PDF file and send it back? And I open the PDF file, and it's basically just like item amount, item description, like cost. I'm like, so I'm just refilling out the information that I sent you already. I'm like, I sent you receipts. There's totals. There's whatever.
This is the shit when like you're like filling out an application to work somewhere, and you send them your resume, and then they're like, fill out this information.
Yes, it was literally
That's exactly what that is.
It was literally that. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll do this because I need this money back. So I fill it out, and she's like, great, thanks. And then I get an email back a couple hours later. So I'm looking over this information. This is quite a bit of money that you're requesting as a reimbursement. I'm going to have to get approval from the higher ups. I'm like, okay, I told you it was going to be expensive. So I was like, okay, please let me know. It is now Sunday. I have not heard back from the reimbursement department. Emma did get the case yesterday or 2 days ago. It's so funny because she talked the FedEx guy who delivered it to her house. She had to like sign off on it. And he's like, what is all this? And she explained the whole situation to him. And then he's like, he thought it was hilarious. And now he like follows us and comments on all of our Instagram profiles. He's like the reply guy to our stories. He's like,
so wholesome.
Lol, put in that keyboard I delivered to good use, huh? Sounds great, guys.
That's so wholesome.
It's really wholesome.
I love that.
So now it is Sunday. Still have a $5,000 hole in my bank account. But at least we have all new equipment. And hopefully by the end of this next week, I will have gotten $5,000 worth of equipment for free. But as of now, I have not. And that is the story of how I got absolutely boneronied by Avelo Airlines.
Dude, they flew an entire plane into your butt.
They did. They didn't even retract the wings. They had the landing gear out and shit, fully just like into my butt.
They're like, let's just tear this kid up.
Yeah,
dude, that's so crazy. Like you always hear like airline woes and like, oh, like this happened in security, X, Y, and Z. That sucks.
I know.
That is probably the worst flight story I've heard so far.
It's horrible. I never thought that this would happen to me. I never did. And yet, here we go. I just don't understand why they wouldn't put it on the flights. Put it on the flight back to whatever.
I mean, that's like, I flew, this is, it's not $5,000 worth of shit, but I flew back to Indianapolis for a wedding a year and a half ago, maybe. And my bag was put on another plane.
Oh,
so
shit.
it didn't get there when I was there.
Okay.
And I was like, that has like my suit
Right,
and
my
shit
wedding
in there.
stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
that I have to like wear tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, the flight that's coming in that has your bag on it gets here at like 3:30 in the morning.
Oh my God.
And they're like, we can ship it to you. And I was like, I'll just come tomorrow. I'll just come back to the airport tomorrow morning and get it from you. And they were like, okay, cool. That sounds great. Showed up and they were like, yep, here it is. And I was like, oh, yay.
Great.
It's fine.
Easy.
I was like pissed for like that night. And then the next morning I was like, oh, cool.
okay.
It actually worked out.
Yeah.
But dude, that makes no sense to me that they weren't just like, oh, we'll just put it on another plane that's coming in.
I know.
Especially if you're flying from like Seattle to the Bay Area.
It's such a
on
short
this
flight.
airline.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it's never full. So they
Never.
probably have the space
Absolutely, they have the space. And like worst case scenario, they have to send it back to Burbank, then to Santa Rosa. But like, because maybe they don't have a flight. But still, you can do that in a day.
Yeah.
that's a day's worth of travel. And,
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, man. I mean, I've had that happen before where like they lose my clothes and then they just like they put it on the next airline and then someone from the airport drives it to my house the next day. Like that's what I've had that happen before. But for some reason they didn't do that.
Weird, man.
Crazy. Yeah.
So wild.
And they must have spent so much money shipping it in FedEx too.
Yeah.
Like that's probably like $150 at least $150 to ship something that big.
Oh yeah.
Put it on your airline for free. I don't know,
Insane.
man.
You literally have a logistical vehicle.
I know.
Going to the location. Just,
I know.
You put it in that.
Yeah. No, they didn't.
Crazy,
do that. So,
dude.
Man, just like that. I swear, like, I mean, everything ended up working out fine. Like, fingers crossed about this reimbursement. There's no reason they won't give it to me. I'm just a little like they haven't. So I'm
Should have someone drive you the check.
Yeah, exactly.
Be like, here you go.
To hand deliver me in singles 5. I want you to count it out in front of me.
And then you get to like smack them on the back of the head.
Yeah.
And send them on their way.
Bye, Mr. Velo. So
you ever flying with a Velo again?
Oh yeah, for sure. So cheap. Absolutely.
The price of the plane ticket is more than enough to cover the emotional scarring that they've done.
Absolutely. I don't have to drive to LAX. I can just pull up to Burbank 30 minutes early and just hop on my flight. Absolutely, I'm going to fly with them again. But man, I guess, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So if this ever happens again, I can't really.
Fool me thrice, you can't get fooled
Fool me
again.
3 times, fuck the peace signs, load the chopper, let it rain on you.
All right, hell yeah.
But yeah, man, I think 7 years of my life were just deleted from my existence this past weekend. Like
That's crazy, dude. You're older than me now.
I know.
Wild.
I'm like firmly in my 30s.
Yeah, what's it like being 35?
Dude, kind of dope, actually. It's not bad. I have to stretch a lot more than I usually do. I wake up every morning and
The lactose intolerance has gotten worse, I'm assuming.
God, I can't even look at milk in that dairy aisle. I like have if I just start farting if I'm like,
Yeah. You gotta buy the really expensive like macadamia nut milk.
Yeah.
In order to
shit.
make yourself feel better.
Yes. Yep.
Dude.
Yeah.
Nothing's worse than trying to buy like dairy alternatives.
Bro, they got so many now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And like none of them are like that great, but
Yeah.
like oat milk is still.
I think oat milk is the closest and like the one I enjoy the most. It's still got the everything else is watery to me. I don't want to drink watery milk. Like I like the consistency of milk. It's like slightly thicker,
Yeah, macadamia nut milk is a lot thicker, but it's like
Really?
smoother, so it's weird to me.
Interesting.
It's like drinking like a melted milkshake.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I don't
wild.
like it. I don't like it.
I tried flaxseed milk recently. I wasn't a big
flaxseed
fan of that. I think oat milk is really that's a staple for me. I won't do anything else. Although I do every once in a while when I like have my little month-long spurts of like I'm gonna be a workout boy and go to the gym, and then I don't for like 3 months after that month. But those months that I feel like it, I buy regular chocolate milk.
Ooh.
I buy like
Like a
True Moo.
a little treat.
Yeah, as a little treat after my workout. But that's like regular milk. Because like chocolate flavored oat milk just tastes like chocolate flavoring in oat milk. Chocolate milk, bro, like tastes like, like that's like a,
Yeah, like fresh
they've
squeezed
got it
out of
right.
the chocolate cow.
Like,
Dude.
fresh out the chocolate tea to the chocolate cow.
Yeah,
like,
dude. You gotta love it.
straight from Willy Wonka. But
Dude, that was marching band competitions.
Yeah.
State
yeah.
was always sponsored by the Indiana Dairy Farmers Association.
Oh, hell
So they always had like milk after it, which like
Interesting.
do it. Marching band is not like, it's not like you're like doing anything really athletic,
Right.
But like it's a lot of cardio because you're still moving a lot, and then you're also trying to play a like wind instrument.
yeah.
So like you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
You get really sweaty, you get really hot. The first thing that you want to drink after doing that Not milk.
Not milk.
Not milk, man.
No.
That's not what you want to do.
Give me my electrolytes back.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want water.
Give me a Powerade, bro.
Yeah.
Give me that shit. And then like you walk off of Lucas Oil Stadium or the field, whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Walk off, and they have like all these coolers of milk and shit. And then you like reach into it. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, this is so delicious. This is really quenching my thirst." And I'm like, I'm drinking a milkshake after like running for a half hour.
Oh, that
no,
sounds
dude,
horrible.
this is weird. But
That's not good.
I will say, best tasting milk I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. This close to throwing it up though. Every time.
I guess that kind of, puts a little asterisk next to that. But dude, like good milk is like, I get that humans really aren't supposed to drink dairy milk, and that like, mass produced dairy milk is like pretty inhumane. Mm-hmm. But like that like straight up like farm to table milk, like obviously it's a little process because
you have to pasteurize it.
You have to pasteurize it and do shit. But like the closer you get to that, oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It is, dude.
Yeah, I will risk every bit of my gut health for some of that.
Oh, dude, we made grilled cheese the other night, and I had like 2 of them, crushed them real quick, and I was like, well, I just ate 2 grilled cheese sandwiches, and I forgot to take a lactate. whole next day, bad. I felt like I was melting.
Yeah.
There's a trap in Saw at the end of, I think it's Saw 3D or Saw 5. They all blend together.
It's either the third or the fifth.
Yeah, like they all blend in my head. The worst part is Saw 3D is the 6th movie.
Stop.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the 6th one.
Cool.
So, in it, at the end of it, this dude is like basically like there's a big twist at the end, and this dude's there, and like this person basically kills him, and he like flips the thing to like kill the guy, and it's this huge contraption that like drops all these needles down like into his back, and then injects him with hydrochloric acid.
So he just burns from. I know what you're talking about.
You literally watch this dude like melt,
disintegrate.
That was the inside of my stomach.
That's what you felt like.
That's me eating 2 grilled cheeses. Is that guy?
That guy right there.
Specifically.
Damn, dude. I can't keep track of the Saw movies.
No. Yeah.
Have you seen like the new one with Chris Rock?
No.
I haven't either.
I didn't either. So Megan found this YouTube channel called Dead Meat, which
I love Dead Kill Counts.
Yeah. So she just watched through all of the Saw ones because she's like, I don't think I can watch the movies.
No.
And like Megan's like a horror aficionado.
Yeah.
Like gore effects, like special effects makeup, that's like her thing. She loves that shit.
Yeah.
So like Saw would be a great one for her.
Seems like it.
But it's like too much for her, which I
it's
fully understand.
Shit, dude. It's really over the top.
Saw is rough, and I love those movies to death.
Yeah.
But so she was like, I don't think I can watch the movies. I gotta watch like a video of it. So she watched like the kill counts, and we were going through it, and I was like, I remember this one. And then like we watched like the next movie, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember these traps. And I was like, I thought all like everything just like became one big movie in my head.
I mean, it, like all the variations of Jigsaw and like who becomes Jigsaw after that, and like is he dead or is he not? Oh wait, he's not dead in this. Oh, actually, this movie all took place 10 years in the past. Like it's like
here's a copycat killer.
Yes, exactly. It's like
the plot is so convoluted.
It's so goddamn confusing.
And like the first movie, so the 2 dudes that are like in the building or like the big like cooler room with the dead body in the center. First of all, the other guy's Carrie Elways, which is the Dread Pirate Roberts.
As You Wish.
Yeah.
That guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's him.
You're right. Yeah.
So it's him, and then the dude who wrote the movie.
Oh, really?
That other dude is the guy who is the screenwriter of Saw.
Oh, no shit.
So he was like, yeah, I'll be in the movie.
Yeah.
And so like that whole movie goes. Incredible twist.
That twist was, I think that first Saw movie, that's great.
Dude,
that's
so
crazy.
good. Yeah. They made that movie for like a couple cheap. $100,000. Like very cheap.
Yeah.
So like by movie standards for the people at home. So like made it pretty cheap. And like we were watching it, like we're seeing like the camera work and the editing, and I was like, wow, this movie is dated. Yeah. I was like, 2004 was a long time ago, man. Yep. But like twist is great, and we kept watching the next ones, and it was like they had to keep trying to like outdo themselves.
Yes, I know.
And once you get 6 movies in,
well, it's like Fast and Furious.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
like it's just
they're in space.
It's just insane at this point. So we were like watching like the 6th movies like run through, and they were like they show you like a scene at the beginning that like is supposed to be the kickoff, but it turns out that happened at the end of the movie.
They play with time too much in those movies.
The timelines are absurd.
At that
and
point,
I
it's a
hate
time
them.
travel movie. Like it's literally like, okay,
yeah. It's just Primer, but over and over again. And people die a lot gruesomer.
Yeah, but it's truly, you're right. It's like they try to push the envelope to where it's just like not. You're just like, okay, this isn't even like I can't even picture this happening in real life. Like the first one, like that's good horror. Like I can picture like, whoa, crazy. He's been, spoiler alert, he was alive the whole time. Crazy.
Who would have thought? It's from 2004.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That was a big twist back in 2004.
It was great.
Like,
incredible.
Oh, he wasn't dead all along. Oh, it was actually a dream. Like those two tropes were like early 2000s gold.
Yeah.
You never saw that shit.
Oh yeah,
like,
dude.
Whoa, he's been dead the whole time. Sixth Sense.
Yep.
Saw, or I guess the opposite for Saw. But like truly, like so but yeah, then they just keep trying to one up. Now we're like dealing with the past and the future and it all, it's just like fucking, you know.
And apparently like we watched the one for Spiral, the Chris Walk movie.
Yeah. Quiz Walk movie.
He's just someone's like cooking some fried rice in him real quick. We watched that, like the kill count of it, and like the whole thing is basically just like a cop procedural.
Really?
So we're watching it and we're like, okay, like we get some like cool like kills and some cool traps, like we get to see it and stuff like that. But I was like, you took the Saw movies and you were like, let's follow the police officers more. Like, what? No, dude. What are you doing?
That's so
weird. This is so strange. Like that's the least interesting part of it.
Right.
Dude, it's so crazy. But like so many of those twists, I was still like, oh, that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Like even like as like they got more ridiculous and stuff, I was like, okay, yeah, that's fun. I like that. And fucking like Donnie Wahlberg's in him, so he can technically be a Scream King.
Yeah. Dude. I mean, sure, it's easy to shit on him, but like, am I gonna watch him? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, I'm gonna watch him. I love that shit.
And am I gonna have a great time? Yes. Am I gonna be looking through my fingers most of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it's fine.
God, I passed out. I remember one of the Saw movies. I don't remember which one it was, but it was when he split his hand down the middle. Yeah. And it falls like that.
Oh, yeah.
I passed out.
And that's like the worst part about it too, is that like there's like the 5 boxes, right?
Yeah.
So like they get to it and they get to that part and the dude realizes that if they wouldn't have just like fucked over all the other people, they wouldn't have needed to do as much as they did. So they just like fucked themselves through the whole thing.
I know.
And like that scene, like they cut away like for the video that we were watching and they like did it. And as they pulled it out, just like the fucking effect of it dropping down, I was like,
and it's still attached here.
Oh, dude, it's the worst.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's the worst. The crazy thing, too, is so like the prop masters and stuff like that, they literally make torture devices. They literally make what they're going to do, and then they add safety procedures to them. So they're like, it will work. Now we're going to make it not work.
Yeah.
And they do that, and then they like get the prosthetics and like have everybody do stuff. So it's like they're like, yeah, like this will kill you.
This will kill you.
If we took off the stuff that we added to it after we built it. It's crazy, dude.
Insane, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool though.
And then like they'll shoot it multiple times so that they can like change out the prostheses and like stuff like that. So there's like one in Spiral where a dude is like in a bathtub and his arms are in this thing and they have like stuff on his fingers and he has to like bite down to make sure like water doesn't fill up and electrocute him, but every time he does it, it just pulls his fingers. So like it does that. And the way that they did it was like they had the fake arms there and they had him put like his arms like under the table and they attached it like right here with like makeup and everything. So they were like pulling it and stuff like that and doing it, but his arms are like underneath it. Like we were just watching a whole bunch of stuff of like how they did stuff to make it look, and I was like, dude,
that's hype, dude.
Prop artists and like special effects makeup guys in the film industry are fucking magicians, dude.
Absolutely incredible.
Like VFX artists, all the credit to them. Those guys need to get fucking paid more. They do incredible work.
Yeah.
But like,
they get paid more than like physical prop artists?
I don't know. It's usually a lot less, and that's why you see a lot more VFX in movies than practical effects because it's way cheaper.
It's cheaper to do, of course. Yeah.
So like you kind of lose some of that, but like, dude, shit's crazy.
Yeah, dude, practical effects are always better.
VFX just sells the practicals, baby.
Facts.
Have you seen the whole thing about them wanting to recall 830,000 Teslas?
No.
Yeah.
What?
They're like investigating it right now because of the self-driving software that they're like it needs to be recalled and either updated or like removed because it's
they can't do that over the air. They have to like
So like they have to bring them all in, redo it, make sure that they all work, and then send them back out.
Ooh.
And it's only being investigated right now.
Okay.
So like,
all right.
But I was like,
well, what do you do like in the interim with that? Like someone's car, they're live. Like, do you have to then replace almost 1 million people's cars, or like?
Pretty much. Like that, basically, you would send your car in or take it to a dealership. They would have the patch or whatever.
Right.
They would update your vehicle, make sure everything's good, and then you could take it back. Damn. So like you just have to take it to a dealership.
Sure.
But like, you know, the logistics of like
thing,
fixing the software, making sure the software works, and then sending it.
Yeah.
Because like they're having problems of it, like running lights, running stop signs, hitting people, like just doing all this shit. So it's like they're already, and that's I'm pretty sure that's like 95% of like their total sales.
Oh fuck, man! As someone who has driven a Tesla many times, I don't even trust its fucking lane assist on the highway. Like, you know, because you can double tap the little gear shift, and anywhere that's like puts in self-driving mode. But like, you know, it'll stay in the lines, it'll follow the speed limit, whatever. I still am like, you know, foot hovering above the brake, like hands here, because I'm like, even on the highway, like I'm still like, fuck, like, you know, because there's anomalies, like, you know, when a lane opens up or whatever, because it uses the cameras to detect like the paint, basically. Right. I think, I'm sure there's more that goes into it than that, but I think that's like the main thing. So then when there's like an on-ramp or something and the lane all of a sudden gets like this, it starts to, the car goes like beep, 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 slams on the brakes and like fucking whips you over to the side to get you closer.
Holy fuck, dude.
It's crazy, dude.
Gee, I hate that.
Yeah, or then when there's a motorcycle like that splits the lane, it swerves the opposite way of the motorcycle, sometimes into the other lane. Like it's like those are the decisions it makes. Like it's fucking crazy.
Fuck, dude.
I do not trust that shit.
I hate that.
It's too like I don't. It's too early. Like it's too early to be fully self-driving when the lane assist has bugs.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Fuck that.
That's insane. My car has like a lane detection thing where like when you start getting close to the like the line, that side of the wheel vibrates. Yeah. Which I'm like, oh, that's neat.
That's nice. Yeah.
And like it has a thing too where it can parallel park itself. I've done it once. And I was like, that was neat. I'm never gonna do that again.
It's so stressful. Dude.
It's not that I like don't trust it, because I was like, the time that I did it worked. Yeah. But I'm like, the one time that it doesn't work is going to be a fucking hassle. Yes. So I would rather make the mistake myself and be like, cool, 100%. I did that. That is my problem. I will fix my problem. Yeah. But it's like, oh, my vehicle did it.
My robot just didn't perform well. Yeah. You know,
like oh, it's outdated software.
Yeah. Like I should have got the beta patch. Yeah. Like fucking
crazy, dude.
Stupid as shit. I know. I know that the technology is there. I know there's so much testing and they wouldn't push it to the public if if it didn't work. But like, in my mind, I'm still like, I can't get behind this. Yeah. I can't fully get behind it. Not yet. Not yet. It's too early.
Yeah, let's give it to like a mass market producer. Like, let's let GM kind of fuck around with what that is, and then we'll see what happens. Right. But like, dude, it just that small of a team. Then Elon Musk was also like, I'm laying off 10% of Tesla, which is like a couple thousand people. Oh yeah. And then it's just like, okay, cool, because like your shit doesn't work. Profit margins, and you want to make more money because of inflation, right? Like, bro, fuck you.
No, it's insane, dude. In San Francisco, I have never seen so many different it almost seemed like startup companies that had self-driving cars that were learning the routes of San Francisco. Wild. I think they're trying to make it specifically like a metro area transportation, like Uber, Lyft type competitors, but with zero drivers. But I saw 3 different brands of cars with like someone in the driver's seat and like someone in the like taking notes, but like no one's like, it was a self-driving car. Wild. Like, and they're just mapping out the streets of San Francisco. 3 different companies. Crazy.
Wild. Yeah. In like one weekend too.
Yes. That's crazy. They were all over the place. I mean, like truly, I saw one, I can't remember the name of the one that I saw the most, but they had Jaguars. They had like the cars, like the brand with like fucking like shit on top. Like it looked like they attached it to the stock car, but like it was like clearly built in. So maybe they're like working with Jaguar, which seems insane. A luxury self-driving vehicle seems really silly, but whatever. But yeah, like those cars, I saw like 20 of them just driving around with someone like taking notes in the seat, and there's like, you know, things spinning on the side, and like it was crazy. Yeah. I mean, wild, dude. I guess I mean
Google's been working on it for like years. Right. So,
but it's so interesting because I think they're specifically targeting like ride sharing self-driving, which
that's funny. Guess, you have Uber and Lyft that are like, I'm pretty sure headquartered in
Right.
the Bay Area.
Yes, they
and
are.
now you literally have companies opening up next door to them that
Yeah.
like, we're going to make you obsolete.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
It
to
is
me.
nuts. Yeah, it's just, dude, Silicon Valley just seems like the fucking wild, wild west. Of
Yeah.
Just like, I can't, it seems like such a stressful industry to work
Yeah.
in, like startups and seed.
Like you can literally like you can be working totally fine for like 6 months and then like the next month they're like, hey, our company's gone.
I know. And the thing is, those 6 months, you're going to make like $500,000.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to make so much money working at a startup as
Yeah.
like a software engineer. And then they're going to be like, sorry guys, didn't work out. Our Y Combinator money ran out. So see you later.
Yeah, like we have all of our angel investors pulled out.
Yeah.
Like our money's gone.
Yeah.
So we're like, we're done. Like that's just so stressful
So
to me.
stressful as
And I
hell.
remember like a point in my life where I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Same.
So glad that I didn't.
Yeah.
Holy
No,
shit.
I cannot
man.
picture either of us as software engineers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just sitting behind a desk coding all day.
I'd much rather sit behind a desk and press buttons all day, but not coding.
Yeah, exactly. Let me
You know?
let me do like a more fun version.
Yeah, exactly. Let me code visually, basically.
exactly.
Yeah. So,
dude.
I don't know, man. Crazy
Fuck.
shit. But thank you guys for joining us on this episode of the Lunchtime Serenade podcast. Happy to be able to unload my stress like that. It takes a load off, and I feel much better being able to vent about it. So
Good.
thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
We are your therapy session, buddy.
Yes, exactly. Better help who. So anyways, yeah, that was that episode. Kind of a banger. My stomach doesn't feel bad, surprisingly. Pretty good food. And honestly, props.
All in all, we back, baby.
All in all, we back. Yeah, thank you guys for joining. We will see you guys next time.
Middle of the day. Middle of the week.
Peace.